Hey fellow skeptics, Lester the Skeptic Tank again. You might, I don't know if you might have seen this in my profile picture. I typically use this for work, but I don't know if it's going to make the audio sound better. So here goes nothing. But I wanted to follow up on the immediate action medical class I took. I'll review the follow up I did previously. I do want to apologize. I think I tagged the wrong tactical response. Yes, there is a tactical response channel, but then there is the one that I believe it's active, and that's where everybody goes. So if I sent you the wrong place, my apologies. I'll make sure I correct those tags where they need to be corrected. I wanted to just kind of briefly explain that part of what they try to do at tactical response is do these skills with your head up. Again, in the context of a scenario that likely will feature a bad guy. I wanted to kind of, this isn't an unboxing, but you saw me show the V.O.K I or the V.O.K I, the kit that was very nicely packed. I do have the kit I used during class, so it gives me the opportunity to show what these items look like, because oftentimes this is very packedly wound, very tightly wound and able to pack this. As I mentioned in my in my last video about this, they had us keep the packaging, and that's why they included a roll of duct tape, because as I mentioned, yes, if you can foot it, get a ready-made chest seal as they call it, but in the event you need a makeshift or you gotta quote MacGyver a chest seal, make sure when you do it, tape it all four sides and just make do with what you've got. This has its use, but as I mentioned, I'm gonna take the bag, show you what it looks like. See all that's all nicely packed and everything is not unraveled. But you see this little block here? This is a compression gauze. I have my training tourniquet. Now, I know what people will say about this tourniquet, and I know the my instructor or the instructors at Tactical Response are aware of things about this particular tourniquet, but this really jives with the paradigm for which I'm training, which is a gravitation from the fine motor to the gross motor, especially when things get hairy, your adrenaline is pumped, and you may not have your fine motor skills to where you're used to. There are other tourniquets, like a wind style, that they have their use. I'm not saying they're bad, but when it comes to if you gotta deploy something nice and quick, you technically can. You should be able to do it without looking, and also you just know, and you gotta rely on that body feel, as I mentioned in my immediate follow up or my wrap up video, and gotta really wrap it in tight. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's still some bruising from the previous application. Kids got some really nice immodesty, but as it was explained by our instructor, immodesty has its line that can't be crossed, so it's got to be mindful and respectful, especially for handling females. We have to go with this mindset of, okay, we're trying to save a life, but we're not trying to sneak something devious in the process of doing that. So ideally, I would be able to do this application without looking. So, and the other thing I learned is this is just your insurance policy. If you get this tight on the first wind up, especially if you're dealing with someone who might have more girth. This is just insurance policy or insurance so that you can get around it. Maybe it doesn't require another pass. Maybe it requires 2 passes. But the main thing is being able to do this without looking. And being able to do that, cutting out the slack as it's been described. So that's the main thing, is I don't have to worry about sneaking this through the loop, because you can adjust this and make it as wide as you need to if you have to go that way. That way you don't have a margin for error when it comes to making it, getting this through this tail, as I call it, tail through this loop. So you can do it without looking, and it shouldn't take you time to deploy it. And you should be able to deploy it without looking down. I'm going to see if I think you saw the pack of gloves. So if there's anything that because I do have a pack, I might end up buying my own pack depending on the size of the gloves. I suppose that will be the only thing I take from this kit, because especially if you're in a situation where it's dark, it's messy, there's possible or likely body fluids, you want to put your gloves on first, and that was one of the major takeaways, especially as I ran through the scenarios and then as one of the observers in one of the many scenarios we did as a class. So ideally, I'd be able to, the trickiest thing is getting this on and keeping the head up. Let's see if I can do this. Well, especially when the gloves, we were reusing the gloves that we had used throughout the scenarios because it's part of training. But ideally, you would have ready deployable gloves that aren't scrunched. But if you do come in contact with likely fluids, anything that could be a contagion, you're typically going to have it such where it's a one-time application, one-time use, and you got to put on another set of gloves. So the one thing that we found out as a class, head up always, and oh yes, see this, and this was one of our hurdles, because it's tough to, at least if we are going to put our eyes on it, at least put it in the line of sight so your head is still up. So, but there we go. I think I did it without looking, or at least fixating my vision on putting it on. So, just getting used to that. And there's something that one of my jiu-jitsu instructors mentioned about PSS. That's precision, speed, stress. Gotta have the precision. And the biggest takeaway when he told me that, everybody's got their P. So that means every person's gonna have a number of reps till they get to their P. And that's a personal thing. I've got some things I gotta work with physiologically, neurobiologically, and all that jazz. Somebody might be able to do it in less reps. So, yay. I think I got my gloves on without without that. So I'm gonna take these gloves off. I gotta be able to, if I'm gonna do that, I gotta do it in such a way that I can do it without dipping my head, in such a way that protects me as well. There it goes. If that was full of contaminants or any kind of blood or fluid, I'd have to toss them. And that's one thing that if you decide to pick up this class, they plan these classes out. So if you want to take the class and you're trying to space it out, they do have options. My memory serves, they schedule them a year or so in advance. so you don't feel the pressure. Yes, you want to get these skills, but at least you are given the opportunity to plan it out in advance, particularly when it comes to lodging and then travel, depending on how you go about getting there or wherever they decide to hold the class. Again, they do have the layaway option, so it helps you plan financially to make your way out to wherever they're going to hold it. So as I talked about the gauze, this is what comes out of this little block you see. So, and yeah, there was one of these things I mentioned that um, there was a moment in the class where this, because we had to apply it onto each other, and it was applied really well to the point where I pretty much had to dispose of it. Yeah, yeah, maybe I could have washed it or something, but I didn't want to subject my classmate to any of that. So as soon as I took it out myself, I'm just okay. That's it. It's done. So yes. So as I said, this is just a simple demonstration of a used V.O.K kit or V.O.K V.O.K, and what it includes. Um, so again, plenty of tools, and if you could foot it, more the merrier. You never know when you'll happen to need it. Hang on a second, I'm going to get what's called, lovingly now called, since I learned the term, boo-boo kit. All right, boo-boo kit. Now I gotta adapt this to with my trauma bag that I have. In case you need to bandy someone up. I'm surprised, and I found this off some obscure website. This would be like in case I got some weird cut. You could tell that it doesn't have the amount of items my medic bag has or my V.O.K has, but you've got something that will make do. Yeah. You got some band-aids to work with, you got some gauzes, you got some tape. So it's like one of those things, and I could makeshift a very basic boo-boo kit. I'll likely take the items out of the bag and probably do something with the MRS I carry with me every day. And I know the instructor talked about putting on the person, and there will be some things I might want on my person directly, but likely a tourniquet. I was talking about the windlass, and then there's the other one that's a ratcheting base. So that one requires not as much attributes on a person, like being able to use your body weight and your strength. Then the nice thing about it is if you can put it on a person, it was demonstrated by one of our classmates. He happened to have one of those ratcheting style tourniquets, is that you could just pull the tab or pull the button or pull the switch and it'll start tightening, and it doesn't take much. So definitely a lot of ideas that I can decide upon. I have a number of these. Again, through I think it was a Facebook thing, might have been, but this little kit, very cool. I also have some items that I can utilize as well from when you join these programs or when you have a membership to an organization. They, like I mentioned, they gave some swag, so I'm going to also see what I can do with those. Can never have enough supplies just in case something bad is to happen. So hope that helps. Again, I will likely adjust the tags I made for tactical response so that way you can get to the right outlet. All right. Uh, just a heads up, I may be cooking up another video, a Linux-based video. I honestly don't know what else I would do within Linux. It's because going back to my ideas of prioritization, what I do in my Linux machine, it's fairly simple about what I do. Browse the web. I might do some web stuff in terms of website design, but a lot of that is web based, and a lot of the what you people would do on the web. A lot of what people do on the web is pretty standardized through the browser of choice, whether that's Chrome, Firefox. I don't know. My personal jury on Edge is I'm a little out on it, but that's me. But you can't go wrong with Chrome or uh, Firefox. But if you're one of those like myself who wants something more from a Chrome based browser, and yes, there are multiples, whether we're talking Vivaldi, Brave is very popular, or even the open source version of Chrome, Chromium, I'm going to work on that kind of video, and then we'll see what I want to do with what I've been trying to do. I've just put myself in these positions where I put everything in, on different plates, or I put them on different positions of the plate. Further back, further back. And so I know I had done something with MI7. I watched the movie in the theaters. I don't know how bummed I am about not seeing it again in the theater because I would have had a different perspective. But I'm slogging through MI2. I will get to MI3 eventually. But I can say based on the ones I've seen so far without seeing 5 and 6, I do see a trend that was shifted right away. And I'll speak more to that once I get to it. Okay, everyone, fellow skeptics, thanks again for your time. Again, I appreciate any kind of thumbs up. If you like what you see, great. If you have anything to say, I'm more than happy to read comments. I mean, at this point, YouTube has this weirdness with subscriptions, particularly when Retroblasting brought up what happened with their shorts. And so I might do something. I know there were some popular shorts that I had, so I might do something with that video if I can, and then I might find myself deleting the shorts that I have had. Yes, we'll see how it goes, but I know there have been games played with respect to shorts, and especially apparently there's a difference between standard video subscribers and then short subscribers. Something I might have to work with. I'm very young in this venture in the sense of getting into a rhythm of posting videos. So we'll see. I'm nowhere near this making this a full-time gig. I do it as a labor of love. And it's an effort for me to Dumbledore whatever's in my mind. I find that a lot easier than just simply putting out a blog, though there is a place for the written form. But even though I'm an English major, I always struggle with writer's block. Oh well. All right, fellow skeptics, peace out. Catch you all later.